And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our feature. Whoa, little feedback there. Our featured guest, repeat offender, Melissa Hammond is in the house. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it. While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. You just have to look at the screen for me to figure out what in the world we're going to celebrate today, the 21st day of October. Is there anything worth, okay, National Reptile Awareness Day. Not a lot of excitement there. National Clean Your Virtual Desktop Day. That might take me a week to clean my virtual desktop. My desktop might even be a little bit worse than that one. And of course, I will go with the one that most people would anticipate most from me. We're going to go with, having beaten anorexia, National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day. So we'll stick with that one today. Yeah, yes, indeed. Take a look at what's going on in the markets today. Are we anything exciting in the markets? I know Friday was Triple Witching Day, or the options expiration day. That was a little fascinating to watch that one. Then we get the down day, followed up today with the Dow Jones Industrial Average being up 17 points right now. S&P 500 up 16. NASDAQ is up 61. Oil down 79 cents a barrel. Do I even dare looking at oil prices? Now, I've only been with you one day since I made a quick trip over to Las Vegas for a industry event. And had the lucky experience, first thing in the morning, I'm leaving town, paying $3.19 a gallon of gasoline. Get back into Calazuela, here at Corba Linda, paying $3.99 a gallon. So an extra 80 cents a gallon, 4-hour difference, both at Costco's. So it's like-kind gasoline. But I'm looking today, $2.64.8 is the national average for gasoline. Calazuela, we are paying $4.14, which is, figure this one, I love looking at this. We're about 50 cents more expensive than the oil-producing state of Hawaii. Figure that one out. Of course, we know what the reasoning is. Louisiana, $2.25 they're paying for gasoline in Louisiana. Yet we are sitting there at $4.14. Yeah. Not exactly what we want to be doing, but that's the way the prices work when you've got the leadership. Wait a second. Did I really say leadership in California that we really have? I guess there's no leadership. We're going to have an interesting broadcast tomorrow when we're talking about what's going on in some of the issues of California. And part of that having to do with some of the new laws. Last week, 70 new laws put into effect in the state of confusion, many of them dealing with real estate, and they're going to have a lot of implications that you may or may not be excited to hear about. We're going to also talk a little bit about some of the information that's coming out. What do some of these fascinating stories that we hear about iBuyer, what's the truth about that one? So we're going to get you some information on that as well. See what else we can find in the news for you today. Ooh. The DOJ's watchdog, their report on the FBI's FISA abuse cases might be coming out today. See what happens on that one. A lot of fascinating things that are going on as we watch the political environment of the United States. Now, we don't get a whole lot of legitimacy here. The one last station I used to be able to watch that actually did have some unbiased reporting, so much for that one. They have died as well. Yeah, no more. But Mick Mulvaney insists that the Ukraine aid, that was not a political issue. Who cares, right? Do we really care about that one? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has come out. She's going to endorse the socialist, communist Bernie Sanders. How do you like that idea where you get to go and work hard and somebody else gets to take your money? That doesn't seem like quite the way we should be doing things in the U.S., but that's kind of the direction. Now, I don't know if that's where we really want to be heading, but we are in Calizuela, so we don't have much of a choice on those things here. We're going to continue watching them and seeing where they go. We'll report on them. You decide on what your thoughts are. Obviously, you know my thoughts. Just throw that out there. The Kurds, they're willing to talk to the U.S. Now, this is a fascinating story. I've had a lot of debates on if you're watching what's going on with the U.S. leaving, or the president saying he's going to leave that safe zone. He's taking 1,000 U.S. troops. Now, that in itself, to me, is a fascinating story. So we've got 1,000 troops, or had, between Turkey and Syria, and that was going to keep the peace between both of those countries. 1,000 U.S. fighters taking on two different countries, keeping them at bay. Now, here's my issue with that whole thing. So I had some folks say, well, we're moving out of there in a hasty manner. After 12 years. How do you call it a hasty manner after 12 years? Now, I'm just in for taking personal responsibility. If you were to live in a neighborhood where both of your neighbors want to destroy each other and you're sitting there right in the middle, now I know you can call in SWAT and they'll protect you, but are they going to stay there for 12 years and protect you? Or might at some point in time you just say, I'm out of here. I'm going to get my family out of this area and protect my family. Well, I guess after 12 years, that's not the idea when you are in a part of the world where they are basically bred to kill each other. There's no other way of saying it. Every one of them wants to destroy the other. None of them want to have any civility at all. But we've got the Rhino Romney out there. He's out against the president once again. Does that surprise anybody that Romney is against the president? Unless he needs something, that's where Romney comes in. I wonder when it's time for Romney to get reelected, do you think he's going to go back to the president and ask for his help again? Moving right along. Elizabeth Warren, hey, how about this one? Medicare for all. That's a interesting subject. Now she's got a way to pay for it. Yeah, take everything that everybody has. How else do you think that she's going to pay for it? $32 trillion is the expense. $32 trillion. And she says, well, we can just tax the rich. Do you really believe that? Tax the rich? And you know what that means? You know the definition of tax the rich, don't you? Anybody that has anything that's not on the government payroll, they get taxed. That's what her definition of tax the rich is. Just amazing how that works, but there's still that group of people that believe her. Now, until we get the media to legitimately do their job, which they have not been doing in quite some time, well, the idea here is there won't be any responsibility. So tax the rich, that means anybody earning over $200,000. That means if you own your own business, you are the rich. May not feel like it, right? I mean, I've got my own business. I don't feel rich. Well, my wife sometimes thinks we are. That's a different story that I better not get into today. But that is the concept here from Elizabeth Warren. And she seems to be the front runner on the Democrat Party right now. Moving right along, tornado ripping through Dallas. The weather systems that are going through here. How about our weather, what we're going to have going in the next couple of days? It's going to be hot and windy today, cold next week. course, for Valentine's Day, you want it to be a little cooler, don't you? Just to get rid of some of the heat. Kids out there in the costumes having a good time. Just throw that out there. Got a lot to chat with you about today. We've got so much content. I don't know if we're going to even get all of it in, but we're going to talk about building a real estate team. You know, and I'm going to share this with you because I get it. This is another area. Every once in a while I get a little outspoken, and I give it a day ending in Y. I am a big believer that the vast majority of the people that are our listeners, they come to us for guidance. They come to us because they want somebody to say, you know, something, this is what you should do. Why would they do that? Well, they do that for a main reason is they anticipate that those people that they're entrusting, their advisors, are out there doing things and vetting the service providers for them. I'm not a big believer in, and some people can call it steering, although we don't call it steering for compliance purposes. I will just throw that out there. But you know something, I feel that I've got a duty to you, my listener, our private clients, to tell you who I think is the best in any specific vocation or to find that for you. So when you have a professional that you're dealing with and they say, well, I've got to give you 3 names, tell them to get off the fence. It might hurt sitting there. Just throw that out there. So get the right names, and we're going to talk with Melissa Hammond about that today because it just so happens she is one of the service providers that I tell people is the only one they can talk to in this area. 5 tips for starting your home search, credit rules everyone should follow, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay will be available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. We're clear. So here's one of our newbies that we can do on here is pulling up pictures. Of course, it'll take a little bit because it's slow. Did you see that? You can bring up John's comment.
I saw that.
So when people put on comments on here, if I like it, I can just click a button and it shows up on the stream.
That's awesome. He's so funny. He's like, oh, I'm going to say hi to you. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Yeah, that I'll give you a list of 3.
Oh.
I'm like, for real? You're gonna gamble? That's what you're doing. You're gambling. Our insurance, our E&O insurance, if there's a liability issue, our E&O insurance covers the real estate agent.
It just
but we never have to claim it.
Yeah.
It just takes care of it.
It just drives me nuts when I hear that with all different parts. And it's realtors are most common with that. And I said, well, if I believed in that and I sent every client that I forward to you to 3 different agents, what would you say? Well, wait a second. I said, well, if that's the way your practice is, then I don't think we're probably a good fit to be working together.
Yeah. And I have some big agents that do that. And oh man. And one of them, she's with Berkshire, but there's like 15 Berkshire Hathaway agents that will call us exclusively. So I'm not understanding. I know it's not your broker. And then you want to make that excuse, but I know it's not, because I know the people in your office that call me exclusively.
I had a guy come to our last lunch, and it's a home inspector. He just wanted to see what we were doing. I never care who comes, right? It's irrelevant to me. So he puts on his, so Jill at Corner Escrow helps us with the event. So I always and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Don't forget, it's coming up right away, the Anaheim Confidential. It is a fundraiser for Cops for Kids. I've got the information right there. November 8th, you can go to eventbrite.com and get your tickets there. Ron1700, no spaces. Ron1700 is the promo code for the event. Help out and just help the organizations that are helping our kids in this day and age. That is the issue that I look for right there. Brought to Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs. They've got the products. You just need to go and give us a call at 800-306-1990. We will find out how we can help you, if we can help you. Now, we just did a big program on this last week, and it was just for private clients. We were showing individuals how a 3.5% interest rate was costing more in a monthly payment than a 5% interest. See how that just need to put together a few numbers. We'll work it out for you specifically. I'm not going to go through it all today. But in the Mortgage Minute, we are looking at the bonds right now. The mortgage-backed securities down 17 basis points means interest rates are up a little bit. The 10-year Treasury up a little bit at 1.8. Ah, good to see you, Alex. I'm glad that you have joined us and found us on our new platform. Hopefully you will like it. What is going on in the markets? Well, we're at a lot of technical issues right now in the marketplace. That's what we're watching, is all the technicals, the 100-day moving average. I know I am a nerd when I watch these different charts and talk to you about it, but that's what's kind of driving things right now because it's a quiet day. Later in the week, we're going to get all kinds of news. The existing home sales, the FHFA House Price Index, new home sales, all coming out later this week. So that's going to be the driver. When there's a lack of news, then it's the technicals that drive the market, and we are right on the brink of a technical breakout. Now, here's the issue: is if this breaks out, which means in this case, the bonds going lower, that's going to mean interest rates are going to go higher. So make sure that you're watching the market, that you've talked to your loan officer, that you've looked for your family. Now, there's a lot of people out there right now that are basically saying, you know something, it's the holidays. We're getting into Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I get it. But, if you can save $500 to $1,000 a month on your mortgage, might make for a little better Christmas. I'm just saying that, and it can be done all before that. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. Give us a call again, 800-306-1990. Happy to put you in touch with the team and see if it makes sense. It doesn't always make sense for everybody, but if it makes sense, that's when we want to make sure we take advantage of what's going on in the marketplace. Speaking of making sense, building a team. Now, when you go buy a house, I'm just going to throw this out there. When you go to buy a house, do you really need a real estate agent to find properties for you anymore? No. Do you need a real estate agent to tell you what the prices are of properties anymore? No. It's all right there. You can find that. There's about 600 websites that have properties on them. You can go to any one of them and get the data on properties. Now, the off-market properties, you're not going to get that from them, but you're going to get everything else on the website. Now, what do you need a real estate professional for? What do you need a real estate team for? Basically, what I say is getting into contract all the way to close. That's what the whole purpose of it is. And who's going to help you with that information? Now, I'm suggesting you probably buy a house on average now in this country once every 10 years. Do you know all the different parts of that contract? There are a big difference between the contract today and the contract 10 years ago. Do you have the houses aged? Who are the people that are going to help you with your properties? Well, one of them sitting right here. Well, actually, it's your team that helps.
My team helps.
Maybe not as much you specifically or individually, right? So
I get in there. I help quite a bit. But,
no, I know that.
We have a great team behind us that jumps in and.
Well, you're the deceiving one, right? Because a lot of folks that I talk to, they see you and they say, okay, she's the one that's out there doing the sales work, but you're actually, I'm not, well, I don't know if John's still watching. We know you're the brains of the operation.
Thank you.
right? I mean, I've learned so much from you. I don't always remember it all just because I've got my hydrogen peroxide now.
Yeah.
I've got my white vinegar and I've got my baking soda.
Yeah.
I probably use them in the wrong places, but I've got them.
That works.
Right?
I'm sure you're doing fine.
I'm working on it. So tell me your thoughts on building a team.
Well, real estate agents have teams. They have lenders. They have escrow. They have a wealth of people that they like to use because they're reliable. They care for their client, and it makes them look good. Home inspectors should be no different. Home inspectors should be the same people that they need to trust because this is it's a big transaction for their buyers, and they need to know that the people that are going to do their home inspection are going to communicate. They're going to do a thorough inspection. They're going to outshine, what the client's expectation is of a home inspector.
Can you that's a good point, Melissa. Can you explain a little bit about what we should expect from a home inspector?
You should have a home inspector, first of all, that's friendly.
Okay.
That can communicate, and that absolutely can look through your home, look at all of the main aspects of the home, roof to foundation, electrical, plumbing, and everything in between, and convey the conditions of the home accurately, thoroughly, and in a realistic perspective, not blowing up certain things to be. I mean, obviously the house has been lived in,
sure,
so it shouldn't be falling down.
But that's a big issue that a lot of people have is you hear, okay, and I think that's kind of why a lot of consumers wonder if the agents are blowing smoke at them when they're telling them to use a specific inspector, right? Because a lot of that I think some of them are wondering, are they, if they're on my team, are they going to be just going one-sided on this? And that's really not the idea, right?
It's not the idea. The idea and our goal is to educate the buyer on the home.
Okay.
Because when you really don't get to know the house.
Sure.
So we're more the premarital counselors.
Okay.
Of home buying. We get to know the house as well as we can, turning everything on, opening and closing everything, and then walk you through it and give you a nice little report on everything. And so that you have a better acquaintance of who you're going to be moving into.
Something that's a big issue, right? Because there's so many different items that are involved. I mean, when you get somebody that's like me who really has no clue about anything when it comes to, if I flip the switch and it goes on, great. If it doesn't, then it's broken, call the guy.
Yeah.
Right? If I wouldn't even know half the things to look for.
So we operate by the standards of practices of the California Real Estate Inspectors Association. Our program, our computer program, is automatically set up to guide us through a process to operate through that SOP.
Okay.
And that allows.
So is that something that has to be done? Like I've got a mortgage license. I can't. My wife doesn't, so she can't give out interest rates because she's not licensed.
Right.
Is there a mandate that an inspector has to be part of that organization?
No.
You don't.
You don't have to be certified in the state of California.
So you could be out. So somebody could actually be out there doing inspections and handing out from a computer program, and just say, I'm an inspector, and charge the consumer and have as little experience as me.
Yes. And then there are some people who go through the steps to gain a piece of paper that states it's a certification, but it's not the same caliber of certification as you would with CREA or ASHI. There's a big difference between several different associations. Okay. Some of them you can get online. You can take the test over and over and over and over until you pass it. Open book.
Oh, great, wonderful. So as long as I can read or plagiarize, I'm in good shape.
Correct.
Okay, that's really good.
With CREA and ASHI, you cannot. Closed book only, and you walk into a room and you take the test. So you have to know what you're doing.
And does each individual, do all the people within your company have to be part of that, or is it the company itself that's a membership?
No, all of my individual guys.
All the guys have to go and pass a test individually.
That's correct.
So that's going to be the first thing that we want to really be looking for when we're talking to somebody about this whole process is, are you certified?
are you certified, but are you also certified with a nonprofit home inspector association?
Okay.
The profit companies are the ones that are taking money and just passing out certifications.
So that goes back to step one is as a consumer, we really don't know that information, right?
Well, you can look at their website.
But I wouldn't even know to look for a website, right? I can go on Google.com and I can do knee surgery too, and I'm probably not going to get real good results, right? So it kind of goes back to what I was kind of bringing up at the very beginning. Is I'm hiring a real estate professional to and part of that needs to be, hey, educate me on somebody like yourselves that, hey, talk to Melissa because they have these credentials.
We go through the steps to make sure that we have the right certifications and the right education and continuing education.
And so that's going to be the same thing as, a doctor has to go through and get continuing education. A realtor has to go through and get continuing education. Right. Your CPA has to get continuing education. Now, I just look at a house and, again, I know nothing, right? So it seems to me like the houses haven't changed that much. Is there that much that changes from year to year when you go through these educational processes?
Well, yeah, because the state of California, like you said earlier, we have new bills and new laws that are coming in all the time.
Oh.
And we have new bills and new laws and new safety standards that we have to, keep an eye out for. We had some pool safety standards that came in as far as gating and protecting your pool from children that came in 2 Januaries ago.
Okay.
And those things we add into our report and bring to their knowledge, bring up so that we can have that open discussion about pool safety or electrical safety or whatever the new bill is.
So when the governor signed in 70 new bills 2 weeks ago, whatever portion of them have to do with safety and home requirements, you guys have to stay up on all that.
Yes.
I'm glad it's you and not me. Although we get about 300 changes to the lending guidelines every year as well. We're going to continue our conversation. Melissa Hammond is in the house. Hammond Inspection Service. I think we've got a crawl. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can't see the crawler going across there. I thought that we had something showing Melissa's contact information on the screen. If not, I'll get it there in a minute. But we're going to continue our conversation with Melissa Hammond. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, I'm having all kinds of computer issues today. So I'm just going to tell you, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. We're clear. Alex, I don't know what he's talking about. But
what did he say?
It's showing. Here's my ignorance.
Oh. It's funny. Now, there's all specialties in real estate in every industry because you need a specialty.
Yeah.
Each person has their own piece of pie or of the job, so that's done right.
Yeah. It takes a lot. Should. It's a lot of money.
And when you're spending $1 million on a home, average in California, you kind of want to know.
Yeah. I get some people that just, do I really need that? You're an idiot. Are you an expert in everything? I mean, most people aren't. I'm the first to admit I know nothing. I used to tell people, I've imported probably 1 million screwdrivers in my lifetime. I've imported hammers, all kinds of tools. Mm-hmm. Don't know how to use any one of them. But most people have no clue that what you have to do to import them either.
Right. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to you actually literally get, for a screwdriver, you have to have a postal scale. You need a postal scale for a screwdriver. Mm-hmm. Well, if you order a screwdriver that's 40 grams and they ship you one that's 20 grams, guess what? it's not going to work as well, right? You're going to go and twist, and it's going to spin with you.
Right.
And they'll do that in China.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
But it's like anything. If you don't know it, and I always say that, I don't want to know it.
Right.
Not my world.
I'm sure that there are plenty of home inspectors that have not the most desirable certification that are incredibly good at their job.
Sure.
But it's the new guys you have to look out for, or the pay-by-hour guys.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you want, is something by hour.
It happens. You know Mike and Travis?
Yeah.
We did an inspection on a 3,000 square foot house for the people that were moving. Both of us were there. About an hour and a half. They were selling a house that was 1,500 square feet. It took that one inspector 8 hours. It took us an hour and a half, which is 3 hours.
Yeah, Michael Johnson. Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564, NEST, 79564. Uh-oh, thanks, John. I appreciate that. That was not good news, but it is new equipment. Thanks for sharing that. No commercials, so they're listening to us talking off air. Gotta love how some of this technology works. I'll have my millennials crop us out. Oh, well, we're going to get the real-time real estate segment. In today's market, low inventory dominates the conversation in many areas of the country. It can often be frustrating to be a first-time home buyer if you aren't prepared. Here are 5 tips from Realtor.com's article, How to Find Your Dream Home Without Losing Your Mind. Mine is probably already gone. Number 1, get pre-approved for a mortgage before you start your search. One way to show you're serious about buying your dream home is to get pre-qualified and pre-approved for a mortgage. Even if you're in a market that is not as competitive, understanding your budget will give you the confidence of knowing whether or not your dream home is within your reach. This will help you avoid the disappointment of falling in love with a home well outside the price range. Know the difference between your must-haves and would like to haves. Number 3, research and choose a neighborhood where you want to live. Number 4, pick a house style you love and stick to it. Number 5, document your home visits. Now it's easy to document the home visits just because there are tons of apps out there that will help you take pictures. I use Evernote. I use GoodNote. Those just happen to be a couple of different apps that are out there that we find that do a real good job. You can actually put the information or put pictures of the front of the house and an address. And then you can actually make your notes right on either Evernote or GoodNotes. They both have some real good features on there. Highly recommend both of those when you're going out looking for a house. I also like the idea of getting things done in advance. There are some real estate professionals out there who are more than happy to just kind of take the contract and then let you go and do your own thing. Here's a list of lenders. Here's a list of inspectors. Here's a list of NHD companies. You probably don't even know what that is. Don't worry about it. Here's a list of everything. And I'm not a big fan of that. That basically tells, especially when the average real estate professional in Orange County, California, does 1/2 of one transaction per year. My question is, how do they know the quality of work that each of those individuals are doing? Do they really know any of that? So the issue becomes, something, be careful of those type things. Watch out for what information you're getting. And I want an agent in my corner that's saying, hey, go here, do this, do that. And they're the ones that I'm paying them. Now, if you don't want to pay them, you can go on Purple Brick if they were still in business because people realized how bad a situation that was. But, you want them to say, hey, something, go and talk to John and Melissa. They're going to get you the report you need. Melissa, I'm sure you've seen this in your travels. the inspection reports from some companies, and they basically scare the heck out of a buyer, right? Because they're saying that everything is the end of the world.
We've seen them,
right?
And we've answered a lot of questions. We sometimes will, our agents that are listing a house,
right,
will see the home inspection for the buyer, and they'll call us with a load of questions, just for some advice, a little counseling. Is this something that we need to be concerned about truly? Is this something that's not as big of a deal? And we try to help guide our real estate agents through the process, just the way that our real estate agents should be guiding their buyers.
Now, if you're trying to sell a house, I'm gonna go real stories, and it's something I don't know if you went on the conversation. I know John was. So I have a friend of ours who's was selling her house, and the buyers came back with a home inspection, and it was totally bogus, right? They were really using the home inspection to enhance their negotiations after the fact. And I actually asked John about it, and his comment to me, because of the relationship we have, is, we're more than happy to go out and take a look and see if what's being done is legit. But there are those people that will use an inspection for the purpose of getting a request for repairs done, as opposed to what's legit.
Right. And that's a natural place to go, is the home inspection, so that you can request repairs.
Sure.
But it's not to be used. The report is not intended to be used as a negotiation piece.
Right.
It's used to be an educational piece for
Sure.
the home that you're buying. And if there are some things that maybe the listing people or the sellers didn't know of because it was in the attic or it was hidden behind something, and we discovered it, then a lot of times they can request those things. Safety things are probably the biggest requests for repair.
Well, to me, I look at it and say the idea of it is education.
It's education.
Right? I mean, you could come out and say that I've got a totally dry rotted patio cover, and that might be fine with me.
Yeah,
right?
It might be, because it might be your intention to change it in the first place.
Right. So I don't care.
Right.
But I want that report to tell me that it's a dry rotted patio cover, so that I think my purpose or my commentary on it all circles around the idea that I just don't want surprises.
You don't want surprises. And by the way, it does help with home warranty in the future too. So when you do have your home warranty, a lot of times a home will have what we do. And then they'll have an original air conditioner, but it's blowing cold. It's operating just fine at the day that they're buying it. It's 18-year-old air conditioner, but it's perfect, because likely the people who owned the home before cared for the equipment.
Sure.
Some don't. So, but ours will take pictures and prove with temperature readings that it was working at the time of inspection, so that it backs them up a little bit with their home warranty. So if it does go out in a year from then or 9 months from then they get a little help.
And it'll also give a big advantage, because now I know that I've got an 18-year-old air conditioner, something maybe within the next 5 years, I might have to be budgeting for a replacement.
Correct.
Right. So again, it takes away that surprise.
Takes away the surprise. It helps with planning. And there's always a house that is perfect for a buyer.
Sure.
But that house might not be.
Yeah, that might not be the right one.
Right. I mean, depending on the budget that they have for redoing home or fixing some things. If it's an older home, they might like the charm, but it's just not the right condition.
Sure.
So they know they need to keep moving on and finding the right condition. Or, we've done inspections for condos where the buyer was not the right person. They were not handy at all.
Like me.
And then
people don't know
the
nothing.
next buyer was more than handy, grew up in a tool belt. So it was the perfect home for her.
So does your report, when you do a report like this, and again, I'm just going at it from the complete ignorance standpoint, which is where I come from, right? Mm-hmm. Is it gonna tell me grades, so to speak, of importance? That this is something that's really important and this is something that's just informational, or is everything one size fits all?
Well, what we do for each item can be marked if it's a safety issue, if it's something that's recommended for further evaluation, or something that's recommended for repair. But it won't put a priority on it. We often will discuss that in the walkthrough. This is something that you might want to lean on as a little bit more of a priority over something that could be repaired 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road.
So it almost sounds to me in a sort of way that you kind of act kind of like a escrow company, right? You're in the middle giving information, calling balls and strikes, as opposed to saying, this is something you should run from this property.
Yeah,
is that right?
We're counseling.
Okay.
We're counseling them through their home buying purchase on the condition of the home.
Interesting. We're going to continue our conversation. Melissa Hammond is in the house. We're talking about home inspections. There are some interesting things that I've learned from Melissa. We might try and get into a few of those when we come back, just because I find them fascinating, and maybe I'll even take a note or two this time so I can remember them. Just throw that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, at Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is
775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report? It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. Boost your credit score, 8 helpful credit monitoring apps, and one simple strategy. I still hear so many people telling me that their credit scores should be higher. They pay their bill off in full all the time. And the fact of the matter is, paying your bill off in full every month does not ensure that your credit score is going to increase just because so many people pay it the wrong way. Got to pay it twice a month, once so that the majority of your payment needs to get there before your statement closing date. That's going to get you the biggest bang for your buck. Then just make a minimum payment before the payment due date. But again, right before the statement closing date, that's when they're going to report. So if you pay right after that when you get the bill, sorry, you're not going to get the benefit of it. So what are some of the apps that are available? Well, obviously, you know my favorite is myfico.com. I get that one. That's the one that tells me all the time what my FICO score is doing. I'm, again, a statistics nerd, so to speak. So I get an update probably 2 or 3 times a day on changes to my FICO score, just for the fun of it. Credit.com has a good one. It's free. Again, my FICO, they charge you if you want them. It depends on how many scores you want. I get all 3 just so I'm watching it all the time. Lock and Alert from Equifax. That one is free as well. Lexington Law. They're trying to get you to do their credit repair service. I prefer our friends over at Blue Water Credit. ScoreSense, Scores to Go. They're going to charge you after a while if you want to get your numbers. That's just their methodology. Just remember, every one of them, they're going to charge you for something. There is no free lunch. Just remember that part of it. So if they tell you it's free, what are they doing? It's kind of like Facebook. They tell you it's free. You're paying for it through advertising. That's how they make their money. Zuckerberg gets rich off of doing something, right? That's the bottom line. So when you see some of these services, Credit Karma, why is it? Well, you're not getting a real FICO score, number one. You're getting a Vantage score or a FACO score, however you want to refer to it. And they're looking to sell you something. They're looking to sell you either credit cards or loan consolidation, debt consolidation. They're all looking to sell something. MyFICO.com, they actually charge you. So they're not looking to sell that to you. They're giving you information. They're getting paid for it. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, again, brought to you by our friends at creditsanitizer.com. Continuing our conversation, Melissa Hammond is in the house. We are chatting about home inspections. But we didn't talk anything about what we normally talk about when you come in. We talked about this team concept, which is great. But, I was going to say that I'm a little slow, Melissa, but you probably know me better than that. I'm a lot slow, right? So, we mentioned earlier about my mind went hydrogen peroxide, the vinegar, getting rid of all these different cleaning chemicals.
Yeah.
Now, I had a lovely 5-foot root coming through in one of our drains the other day. And the plumber, it's really a lovely thing. The plumber said, and I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So, it's, you call the guy. And he's told me that you go get Drano or some other chemical thing. And you've told me in the past that there's better ways of doing this.
Well, with roots, you might need a professional.
Okay.
But for your standard drain maintenance.
Okay, that was where I got to, because he came in, He took care of that now. So now to maintain it, what do I do?
Your drain, and it's really going to maintain the closer drains to your home,
Okay.
like the immediate sink drains and stuff. It may not affect the main sewer line
Okay.
as much, but to keep the drains clean, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of baking soda
Okay.
and about a half a cup to a cup of white vinegar right down the drain, and you'll get a lot of fizzing. It's a nice little science experiment, but that does help clear the drain of bacteria, mold, buildup, just soap scum, and all of that.
So they're going to get rid of that
Drain
the
state.
smell that you
And
have
it
from
will.
that?
It'll help with the smell.
Okay.
Because that's what's making the smell, the mold and bacteria down there.
Baking soda and white vinegar.
Baking soda, white vinegar.
And it's not going to do damage to my drains or any
Not
of
at
that?
all. No, it creates a very small thermal effect where
Okay.
it gets warm just a bit and it bubbles, but it's not going to be a major acidic. Drano is much more acidic than this simple little.
And you're the scientist, so you know this stuff. I don't, right? I mean, when I went to school and they said something about science, and I said I got to run the other way, or the science of resort living is what I think I took in college. It was a real
Sounds fun.
tough one.
I like that one too.
Right? It was more my speed, but it's everyone has to do their own thing, right?
Right.
So and just while we've got some time, you can also share with us, because the biggie, especially as we start getting toward the winter months, is everyone talks about their mold.
Yeah, we find it here and there. Sometimes we'll be on a major cleaning spree in the house, take everything out of the sink, and there's water damage and mold.
Right.
And
okay.
the first thing we want to do is grab bleach, and that is not the thing to do.
No bleach.
No bleach. Because when we're looking at a porous material in like any wood, drywall, anything porous, the bleach it's too large to penetrate and kill anything. It really just masks it. It takes the color out, so we all think it's gone. Use white vinegar or hydrogen peroxide, and that will get into the core areas. It'll kill the root, it'll kill the mold, and then you can soap and water clean it out. Bleach is just toxic. And not toxic to the mold as much as we'd like it to be.
Okay, now here's another one, because some of us have the newest things around that I see a lot in houses. Maybe the neighborhoods that I go to is why I see so many. Is water features. Might get a water fountain and things like that. What do I put there to make sure to keep the mold away?
Inside the water feature, there's all kinds of. You can go down to the pool supply store and find all kinds of things that will help with the mold and the moss. Usually those are items that are outside, so mold is outside.
Okay.
And you're going to get a little bit, will grow here and there. You want to make sure that water feature is away from the house, though.
Okay.
When we see problems, it's usually the fountain is right up against the home, or a planter that's right up against the home that doesn't have the appropriate water backing. So that water eventually seeps through and we get mold inside the house.
So mold's going to transfer from one area to another because of the proximity.
Water.
Okay.
Mold needs water and it needs food. And so if the drywall on the inside
Sounds like me.
of
I
the
need
house
water and
gets wet,
food.
It's just a normal person.
Okay.
But if the inside of the house gets wet because of the fountain and that water seeps through to the inside of the house,
Okay.
the mold that we track in from our clothes and our shoes that just from when we open the door, that will find that area where it's moist, very friendly to live, and it'll grow there.
So it's not like I just throw some vinegar or hydrogen peroxide in my fountain and I'm good?
You could put some hydrogen peroxide and vinegar in the fountain. Vinegar is not going to smell very good.
Okay.
Hydrogen peroxide, there's some recipes online that you can get on how much to put per gallon. That ratio, I don't know offhand, but I know even people are treating their pools that way.
Interesting. Okay, because you start wondering, because if they've gone to these salt pools, and again, I don't know anything about any of this stuff, and you look at the fountains, and they've talked about us having a lot of mosquitoes out here this year, so you always wonder about that. What other tidbits did we miss about our team building with our home inspector? Did I miss anything in our conversation?
I think real estate agents focusing on putting those core people in their group when they're working with a buyer and including their home inspector in that core group, and not just kind of leaving it up to chance, but really getting to know the value of your home inspector and the value that they're going to bring to your buyer is important. We have a team as well. So John is our owner. He's been around in Orange County in Orange County in 2010. But we have 2 other inspectors that work with our
You're
company.
really going to say on air that John's the owner, huh?
John is the owner.
Well, John, we've got this one on tape for you, buddy. We know who's really running things.
Well, I back up the team.
Okay.
I back up the team when there's.
I know I say that I'm the
water
boss of
issues.
my company too, but we know the fact of it is Mindy. We know our place.
Well, he likes this one, but that's the
Okay.
Heisman.
Okay.
I just passed that responsibility off to him. He owns it.
Okay.
I just come and talk about how wonderful they are.
Nice. Okay. Something, it should be a full team package. And I think that in the industry, I think that it makes it a lot easier when you say, okay, here's our partners, right? And you probably have specific agents that you work with. You know that it's going to be that the project is going to be teed up properly for you, that they're not looking for something out of the world, right? That they're looking for a legitimate report, not to be snowed one way or another.
Right.
Right.
And anybody that's worked with us one time knows that that's what they're going to get. And we're reliable in that way and consistent in that way. So every single time they call us, they know exactly what to expect. They know, and we have online scheduling now. So whether
Online
you schedule,
scheduling.
yeah, it's really fantastic. You can schedule us for an inspection at midnight.
And they don't have to bother you.
I won't have to answer the phone.
Nice. So, and we've been putting the information right there along the bottom of the screen, so you have it nice and easy, so you can reach out and chat with our friends at Hammond Inspection and give them a call. I highly recommend them. I'm not the one that goes out and says to people, here's 3 options. I only can have one best option. So if you need to get that done, I'm going to highly recommend you give a call to our friends at Hammond Inspection. If you're in the Orange County area, what geographic area?
We do Orange County. We do some of Long Beach. We go up to Diamond Mar, Whittier, La Mirada, La Habra, some of Corona.
Okay.
But we're in the metro market, pretty much where our agents are, expanding to is where we can expand to.
And you can probably, if we don't know somebody, you might know some people in the Coachella Valley or San Diego, a little further south from where you go.
If needed, if we need to refer some friends or some acquaintances that we know in the area, I should say colleagues.
Right.
Because we're all in the same business. Most often we have somebody that we can touch base with and send you to trust.
Give me a call, 800-306-1990. Happy to put you in touch with our friends at Hammond Inspection Services. And make sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We will talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.